Hi Vieira with Stock Market Live.tv. Today we have here new all-time highs in the markets, represented the tech sector by this ETF, which is trading at this price 142 and 68. In 2009, when this ETF crashed down to 25, 29, well, as you are aware, and if you remember as a subscriber, we started upgrading this ETF at a price of $35. Okay, so continued crashing, and the lower it went, the better it was for you to buy, since it corresponded to a lifetime investment opportunity. Well, in 2017, basically almost one decade later, what we are doing right now, and bear in mind that this investment process that has been lasting for years, and saying here also for years, reiterating strong buy ratings without the need to know how much the markets they would rally. What we considered feasible in Dow Jones, what the algorithm said in 2009, was that the Dow Jones, the target, it was 20,450, and you have it live on the blog, okay? Meanwhile, Dow Jones moved by far higher, above 21,000, as you are aware, but this because we entered the euphoric state in the markets. During the euphoric state in the markets, or ahead of this euphoric state, it was remarkably important to assume quadruple investment positions in very low risk investment opportunities. And you have to refer to my call in Nvidia, one of the most important companies in the world, which I upgraded to strong buy precisely several years ago at $12.65, when it was considered a dog. At that time, obviously, I didn't know that Nvidia was going to trade as of today at $145, but I explained it, and this is the most important, the process throughout the years, maintaining a strong buy rating, telling you when to buy, why to buy, to remain invested, and even more important, to quadruple the size of the investment positions, as it was the case in my complimentary live market call after the company reported earnings, buying after hours at $100 an half, which you'll find in the blog of the company. Well, having said this, investors, they have to comprehend that today we are here with this ETF at almost $143, because, and this is the primary reason, okay? Not only this that I'm going to address here, which also it is complementary, and you find on the blog of the company, which corresponds to my announcement that Amazon price target $1,000. Today you have more than $1,000. I already knew that this was going to happen, as the power shares, the ETF, it continued moving higher. Okay, so the most important, I repeat, was to be invested, or to remain invested, to be there and to believe that this was going to be possible, and to reject and to neglect entirely what the scammers in the US, including Nobel laureates as Robert Shiller and so on, that they've been talking about corrections, crashes for years. It is completely useless. And bear in mind that we addressed every single case, professionals including fund managers, as the case of David Highorn, that invested in General Motors, that meanwhile plunged, or sold short or was bearish Tesla, as well as the case of Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and so on, that meanwhile, or it is today trading basically at new all-time highs, or the case of companies where they recommended to invest ahead of a crash, as the case of US Steel, AKS Steel, and so on. Okay, so all this you'll find in the blog of the company. We discuss in real time more than 100 leading companies across different market sectors, all the financial instruments. And this is very important, because if you want to ever to be a successful investor in the markets, you have to comprehend that it is not about stocks. You have to know about forex markets, and you find the calls also the most important in the world in the blog of the company and live. I'm referring to the currency pair euro dollar as well as the British pound US dollar. I'm referring to bitcoins. The most important rally ever in bitcoins that we predicted, we call it. Meanwhile, I think that bitcoins, quite frankly, it went up too far to 2,600, 2,800. Well, that is my personal opinion. You have to refer to my call here in bitcoins several years ago, upgrading to strong buy, and you have the live charts on bitcoins at the prices of $285, and so when no one precisely wanted to invest or to have bitcoins. And these things are dramatically important, okay? Because we predicted all this, we demonstrated all this, and we are the only company in the world which can effectively demonstrate and therefore has the best track record investing in the markets across all these financial instruments for the past 30 years. And I'm telling you that it will not be possible ever, or at least for likely several centuries, to do better, because we demonstrate an accuracy that is 100% or very near. Okay, so mathematically it is impossible to do better. Having said this, we continue offering you millions of dollars in stocks, in live earnings calls, as an example. Today you have the case of this company that was a former strong buy, Restoration Hardware, that is trading at this price, $42.20. It is down more than 26% or so. I warned you ahead of earnings. I warned you that you were going to get this. Okay, so you were prepared in advance for the fact that this was going to happen. So again, everything that we said here, you had to be there, to be present, and to well, comprehend where and the reason why this happened. Okay, because in this particular case, as it was the case in fact of US Steel, which I reported precisely or addressed in real time when Wall Street was raising targets, and that was at $40, with Cohen Research raising targets to $60, and later on, after the crash, after US Steel got to $21, they downgraded. Okay? So they upgraded at the top, and then they capitulated and they downgraded at the bottom, which is amazing. I mean, how is it possible that someone, quite frankly, with a brain, pays to these company fees, you know, or to subscribe to these companies? But Cohen Research, it is not only Cohen Research. I don't have anything against them. Everyone is entitled to have an opinion, okay? But the fact is that no one is doing anything, or no one has ever made anything about this. Securities and Commission, FBI, I mean, this is a criminal case, you see. This is a criminal case. Someone that, quite frankly, recommends to buy, because I have to go back to the story, or the history in US Steel. And Cohen Research was the company that downgraded at the bottom, US Steel at single digits when we were paying to strong buy. So quite frankly, I mean, like I said, it's not about Cohen Research, it's about all of them, basically, okay? So all of them, they exist to deceive you, and they are, quite frankly, not honest, although there are some analysts, they are good in what they do, but they are very few, and none of them is good across different market sectors or about all these financial instruments. Having said this, and going back, because right now I'm just comment on this because you were prepared and the company meanwhile reported. I'm going back to the Qs, and also I would like here to mention the fact that this company here, Ferrari, which today traded above $90 at open bell, Ferrari. And again, in the US, no one is talking about this, or very few. is by far a better performer compared to Tesla. While everyone else has been talking about Tesla, Ferrari represented by far less risk compared to Tesla. Okay, and this is important because the market proved us right about it, and this comes from our service, artificial intelligence algorithm trading. So congratulations, because we addressed continuously not only the case of Tesla, upgrading to strong buy when others they had sell ratings, not all of them, but you have to bear in mind that even those that they were bullish Tesla, they with price targets $360 and so, they, and we know this, okay, so we are 100% certain about what we are saying, they were not considering that this was going to happen so soon in the first semester of 2017. Having said this, I'm very proud for the course that I created, Live Technique Analysis, because in that course I prove once again, as I did in the past, that technical analysis is completely useless. Live technical analysis is a completely different concept, which is the basis or the foundation for algorithm trading and everything that has been done here, although obviously not the entire answer to what has been happening, but at least offering to investors resources and tools that can be utilized today as well as in the future, that help them at least to have a foundation to do something about it and to profit and to do it continuously and to understand, because that is the aim of the course, to understand that there are things that most people they are not aware of, that they really drive all this. Okay, they drive the case of Ferrari to $90. They drive the case of, I don't know, Tesla to $344. They were responsible for the crash that you have today in restoration hardware. They were responsible for the fact that this company here, Nvidia, that no one believed in, and even professionals, they made serious mistakes. I refer to the case of George Soros, that he sold Nvidia to invest in Goldman Sachs or in Snapchat, companies or share prices that meanwhile they plunged, while this company gained an amazing 47% on top of the gains and since earnings report. This is tremendous. I think that most people, they don't realize, quite frankly, where or what we achieved, which is unique in the history of the markets. The fact that I reiterated here, I don't know how many times, quite frankly, thousands, that you had to invest in on a long-term basis, not only in Amazon, Intuitive Surgical, a company, again, hidden gem that no one believed in, no one is aware of this company, that is trading at $920. $920, and you had continuously telling in videos saying this company, this stock moves higher every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year, since we upgraded to strong buy at $98, because in fact we upgraded this to strong buy at by far less prices, but that was when it became public to everyone here. And this is important because unlike others that they, downgraded, the case of Goldman Sachs, again, a few years ago when this stock was trading at $250, they were downgrading to sell, and we, at that time, at that price, and precisely at that time, we were reiterating a strong buy in Intuitive Surgical, because people, they don't understand, they don't know what this company does. They don't comprehend the value, the long-term value of an investment. So where is the concept of an investment firm or analyst that, who has been unable to comprehend all this? So where are the targets coming from? Where is all this that's coming from? So the answer is simple. They are, and they have been, not only completely irresponsible, as incompetent. Okay? So this has been possible to achieve, not because the Federal Reserve, they pumped the markets or blah, blah, blah. Obviously that helped. It is a fact. No one is going to tell the opposite. But these things, they had to happen on a long-term basis. And you had to be there and to profit from. Okay? But obviously also, meanwhile, since we entered the euphoric state in the market, going forward, I think that is a good idea to start reducing positions. Okay? Not because the market is going necessarily to crash or to correct significantly, but how to say this, we went the process of investing in the markets, we went let's say a step beyond what we expected. All right, I'm not referring to this company. All right, I'm referring to the broader market. Okay, so I think that investors, they have always to be prepared for the worst. I said here also, and I repeated this thousands of times, that although on a long-term basis the markets, they were going to Zoom and all these companies, including the case of Google and so on, monopolies, the case of Facebook, I was here since IPO, you were going to see plenty of crashes. Companies that they do not have any competitive advantage. Perfect downtrends on a long-term basis, where people, they have been wasting their time, and therefore the importance of telling investors which companies to buy, which companies to sell short. Because one of the most important common mistakes that people, they do is to neglect or to reject the short side. Okay? So in the US, unlike in other countries, one of the great advantages is that one can profit from the long side and the short side. For example, one that was unable to sell short this company here, Southwestern Energy, on my downgrade to strong sell, which you have and it is public, and this throughout the years and reiterating precisely, and dedicating more than 80 and the full course live on live streaming, and this during market hours, explain to people and downgrading and where to place the trailing stops and so on at around $15. Okay, when precisely they were, this was last year when this company was up 100% and it was on the news. Well, today it is worth $5.63. Or this company here, that is the case of Chesapeake Energy, that today it is finally here, that no one believed in again, below $5. Okay, and you had here myself continuously saying, do not invest in this company. If you wanted to invest in the company, we did it when on the day that Wall Street downgraded Chesapeake Energy, saying that it was going bankrupt, okay, or delisted. It was $1. You remember that day that this company basically traded at $1, okay? At $1, it is not $8, okay, or $7 an hour. And you have case studies and you have recommendations. 20 million shares short cannot be wrong, and they cannot be wrong, my friends. And they cannot be wrong, and I repeated this, and again, as I did in the case of Intuitive Surgical. And you have here the proof live, okay? And you have to be patient, and you have to be there and to believe, because, my friend, there is one thing that is unique and no one else can do, okay? And this comes from something that we have been doing forever, okay? And as the technology evolves, it will be even more difficult for any competitor to do better, okay? Because we already invented this. I already invented this 30 years ago. Okay, so it is impossible, for one to do better than this. Okay, this was invented a long time ago, and so today the technology, what allows, and one of the reasons you see even more quality of the information and everything as the years they pass, is related precisely to the fact that today the technology evolved, okay? So today you have like this service where we are talking about artificial intelligence, autonomous trading, and all this stuff, okay? Responsible for all this, but this has been available for a long time, not as of today. For example, 10 years ago or 20 years ago, it was not making this kind of calls 20 years ago, but 10 years ago it was. The accuracy it was very similar, okay? What it was not doing 10 years ago or 20 years ago, to be more precise, or 30 years ago, it was not possible to do it across all the financial instruments, okay? But today it is possible. So 2 years ago, when we announced this Perelman algorithm, precisely utilizing it in the case of Voltaire Corporation, a company that where Carl Icahn reported to have a position, and you find my calls saying precisely when to sell and that was going to crash, and it crashed, okay? So this was when we announced it. The algorithm is now 100% prepared, is operating is 100% ready, okay, and nothing going forward is going to fail, right? And we started applying it, in every single case that proved to be 100% correct or accurate. Just a second, because the market here, as you see, it is open, and I have here to place an order, okay? So the reason, and by the way, you have seen I just placed an order, and this is also other thing that is important to mention compared to everyone else, that they go on TV, they talk about blah blah blah, but none of them they show you the things, or they tell you or teach you, or for one to comprehend what is going to happen ahead of the move, and they show you the tape, okay? Because the tape also proves that after the calls they were made, and they remain in history. So what I do recommend, as the Qs they get to $143, then we are reducing exposure in the markets, okay? And this is not about predicting where the tops are going to be. We have never been concerned with tops or bottoms. And one of the most important common mistakes that people they do continuously is precisely about price targets. Price targets, the concept of price targets out there, it is completely useless. In that matter, Warren Buffett, he has been 1% right about it, because what others they say is completely irrelevant, because they don't have a track record. They could not foresee all this, okay? This is an investment process that has been has to be explained and has to be followed up, and the value is also in following up and explain this to people, because when I upgraded in 2009 Amazon at $77, I was not with the highest price target in the world. I was not betting that Amazon at that time was going to $1,000. I didn't know, the algorithm didn't know, and this is impossible to know in advance, okay? It's not a limitation, it's that it is impossible. It becomes only possible after certain things are validated during the process, okay? But the value, it is to be there and to comprehend why those things they were going to happen eventually, okay? Because that is the reality as it is, not one to say, like as a gambler, well, Amazon is $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 or whatever, without any track record or credibility. No, the person has to explain to investors why that eventually may happen, and to validate the possibility of it to happen based on mathematical principles. And those mathematical principles are precisely related to things that I teach in that course, Live Technique Analysis, Algorithm Trading, and so on, that is related to stock pivots, that no one understands about these stock pivots or where they're coming from, or all this matter, okay? But this is precisely the foundation, these rules and blah blah, that there is a hierarchy, and the foundation of these the algorithms are artificial intelligence. So as the Qs get to $143, my recommendation is that we start dumping, 1 million shares per blocks, to reduce exposure in the markets, and also to think about the future, but not as those that they were here writing articles on Forbes magazine, appearing on TV, CNBC, those scammers including fake Nobel laureates, because if you have a prize, they give you a prize for what? Because you paid for it. What did you do? Certainly not in the markets. I'm referring to Robert Shiller, an American, that they've been saying corrections for years and so on, that never materialized. When you are wrong, and everyone is entitled to be wrong, if the market tells you, and I believe that to be a successful investor, that is in the end the most important, you have to respect the markets. If the market tells you, or if I'm very bearish the market for some reason, unknown, doesn't matter. But if the market tells me that the markets want to move higher, I have to respect it, I have to learn how to read it, and by learning how to read it, to respect it, instead of investing or trading according to my own beliefs, I have to seize, that story about beliefs or common beliefs that society has been filling in your head with stupidity, that is the reality, the naked truth as it is, and to invest precisely against your primary beliefs, because your beliefs are completely useless, because what really matters is not what others say, but always the market, okay? To the point where after you achieve certain things that probably you didn't believe a long time ago, you are so satisfied with the results that probably you say, well, now whatever they want or they say or whatever does not matter, I'm closing my position and I'm going on holidays, blah 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 blah, and I don't have any emotional distress whatsoever, because I comprehended, I participated in the history, and I will continue participating, and that is, or this story or these principles that I'm referring to, has been precisely already addressed more than 1 decade ago with example of customers that they have been here with me for the past 30 years. You understand? So this repeats in time, in history, all right? So it is important, because for those that they miss these lifetime investment opportunities in the market, we addressed it several times already several years ago as the best bull market in a century, okay? Obviously, once this terminates, and one day it will terminate, the question that many or most they will have is what is going to happen. Well, right now, as of today, we don't have the answer to it, okay? Maybe we have tomorrow, maybe we have next week or next month. The algorithm, and I already explained it, you have a wonderful video and lessons explaining how does it work, okay? We have lessons explaining how it works, okay? So, because the movie is like in 4K most of the time, in high definition, and 7% of the time, to at most 13, the movie is blur, and when it is blur, we should, is what we call periods of uncertainty, and in that case we should reduce the size of the position and wait to see then what is going to happen, okay? I announced it, this is precisely what we are doing as of today in the markets, although we are in this euphoric state. But I don't recommend one to do this or to bail out of the markets. I never said this, okay? I didn't downgrade the markets to neutral even, okay? Or to sell or to strong sell. On the contrary, I downgraded to buy. That is a different matter, because we still have plenty of investment positions in the markets. I never had any reason whatsoever to quit. But also here you always listen to me saying the truth, and this is important. And one of the things that I said, again, it was that some of the investment positions, okay, as the case on long-term basis in the case of Netflix, again other company that very few they comprehend and then they failed completely, and strong buy since $5.85. Well, but congratulations to Netflix in the first place. Congratulations to its management, because in the end it was the most important, you know. The same with, you know, Intuitive Surgical and so on. The management, it is important to invest in companies with a vision. One of the most important was the case that I addressed here, telling you the reality as it is, and believing in one person, called Zuckerberg in Facebook. That you know, many they saw it as, you know, well, just a boy, and we believe that he was going to evolve and to become a by far better person, which is actually is, and to evolve in the sense of being able to speak, to convince, and to have the vision, you know, and to transform Facebook in what it is today, that it was not on IPO. So, you know, this person, or the team in fact, because it's not only about Zuckerberg, it's about the team. He was able to gather the most important, that is human resources, and as we do here, or we have done, or we did, and with the same with regards to customers, we choose the customers, okay? It's very important not to accept everyone in the service, okay? And one of the things that also it is unique in the history of the markets, in particular in this kind of companies related to investing and so on, you don't find negative reviews. Have you seen that here? There are no losses. Where are the losses? We can prove everything, so where are the losses? Where are the losses, my friends? Tell me, where are the losses? Do you understand? This is unique. The people, they don't comprehend. 10 years ago they didn't comprehend, and they continue not comprehending. Why? Because Wall Street tells you that these things, they are impossible. What they want is your money back, your money to pay fees, you know, all that stuff that they need, because they don't make money trading, okay? What they make money is selling, well, sorry to use this word, scams, or deceiving investors because of their incompetence. Because quite frankly, I cannot comprehend, well, if you pay to a company, is to have a vision, right? It's not to downgrade Tesla at a price of $21, is to have a vision. Is this company going to be something or not? It's not then when Tesla is $200 or $300 or whatever, well, this can be the next Apple, you know. So where were you, you know, several years ago? Where were you? The case, because in Netflix, and I never said that Tesla is going to be the next Apple, okay? In Netflix, I said, in my opinion, and this several years ago, this is even better than Apple. It was $5.85, okay? And Netflix became better than Apple. Since then, as a reference price, it became by far investment than Apple. So it was not only about, you know, Steve Jobs. It was about things that, or companies, technology and so on, to comprehend where we are headed to, okay? And this is by far more important as the case of oil, that Goldman Sachs was telling you that oil could go up to $200 and then it crashed. Where is the vision, my friends? Where was that vision that oil was going down, was going to crash? And then after oil crashed, it comes Goldman Sachs that oil can go down to $20, and then oil, you know, gets to a bottom, in fact, at that call, and rallies. And you find in the blog of the company, my friends, you find in the blog of the company, these calls recorded live, telling you when to sell, when to buy oil, and when to sell it, as well as in the case of gold with the ETF, that GLD, using the example of Newmont Mining at $45 an hour, when I said, well, Newmont Mining, you know, at $18.70, it was a strong buy. No, at $45, you know, and a half, when you have on the news that George Soros is investing in blah, blah, blah. I'm not blaming George Soros, okay? I'm blaming the news, okay? We're telling you, well, invest in gold. Gold is going to $50,000 the ounce, or 25,000, and you have this on Google, okay? So we said, no, my friends, it is time to sell, and oil and the gold collapsed, sold off, plunged, and this is the reality. And it is proven because you have these calls complementary. And why did I do this complementary? Was to demonstrate that we are going to be right about it, but no, it was not, because we have been doing this for 30 years. It is because of the complex matters. It is related to the fact that most people, they have to see to believe, and that amuses us. It is fun. Trading and investing markets, in the end, it is very fun, right? It can be very fun, and it's not distressing. It is the opposite. It is about freedom, okay? And the most important is precisely about this freedom, to acquire your freedom, to understand about the world, because this is not about stocks. This is about your life. This is about companies that they offer you a job, where you are working, where they are added to, So it was by far preferable to find a job or to get a job in Netflix and to grow with the company throughout the years, than probably to work in a company as Apple Group that went bankrupt, okay? Or in Transocean. You understand? So this is important, not only as an investor in the markets, but also as probably a father, that you have children, and where they have to be in the future, okay? So these intangible values, they are there, they've been always there, but it is up to you to comprehend it, and then to take advantage of it, and to help also your family, including yourself, all right? So I'm very happy that we entered the euphoric state in the markets. I wish you good luck going forward. Don't forget about visiting the blog of the company. You have hundreds of lessons, you have more than 1,000 articles, you have hundreds of complementary live market calls, resulting into very large profits. You have an example recent in this company, Vertex Pharmaceuticals, which I've been discussing here for years, okay? Which I recently made public also, obviously after I gave it to subscribers. They paid it, and obviously they had more value, or they were going to have more value compared to than the public in general, as I did in the case of also addressing just other example, the case of Skyworks Solutions. Okay, that today you have basically new all-time highs 108. You find these in the blog of the company, my friends, and these companies that no one believed in, that no one, were talking about, or unlike the case of GoPro that was going down to single digits, because precisely they were addressing it, on CNBC, Jim Cramer's, the same that they told you, Bear Stearns is a great investment opportunity and so on. Where is the great investment opportunity? At $65 that was going to $100. What GoPro, that everyone can do what GoPro does, and probably by far better the Chinese, and you are going to pay $200 for a camera that Chinese they sell for $50. Or the case that precisely the same about Crocs, that people they were paying, slippers or that rubber shoes, $50. Do you think that was, an American invention that was comparing, or can you compare ever Crocs to Google or to Facebook? So you have a universe of opportunities, and you are going to invest in Crocs, for God's sake. This is logical, that Crocs was going down to single digits, that Crocs was going to crash, to melt. This is not sustainable, you see, no matter where the markets are going. But anyone knows it, but not, although everyone knows it, the important is, if you knew about it, you had to be there until the crash, throughout the crash, all the way down to single digits, because there was no other alternative. What, that you think that Crocs was going to, sell slippers or rubber shoes for $200, and they were going to find, millions of stupid people to do it? Oh, my friends, that is not, we are not going to compare Crocs with Intuitive Surgical, right? So probably it is one of the reasons you have this company at $921, and people, they continue not knowing what this company does, or also you find companies, because there are more, as the case of Equinix, that you have here basically also at new all-time highs, 442 and 55 cents. You have the story of this company for years. You have some of my best customers already several years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, telling you what they were doing. What they were doing. We asked, there were many requests, and we put their articles. What are we doing? Okay? Where are we investing? And why? This was one of the companies. Amazon, it was one of the companies. Some of our best customers, so what they were doing, you asked, and we answered. So the question is always the same. What did you do about it? What did you do? Did you follow them? Because I have customers that they are, I don't know, and just to finalize, again, as I repeated yesterday, we have, the important is not the profit, the important is your potential. And where are you headed to, and to change your attitude. And we have very small investors, people that they have a tremendous value, and that is the most important for us. That you are there, that you trusted the company, that you are focused, and by being focused and remaining focused, also that you comprehended how the things are accomplished, done. Because, my friends, your value is by far higher than any Wall Street analyst, any of those idiots that they receive Nobel prizes without having any track record whatsoever. I'm not referring to the fact that they might be good in what they do in the economy or whatever, but economy, what? Applying economy to the stock market. It's the same as I apply, I'm a doctor on medicine, and then I'm going to be a very good trader. Where is this coming from, this kind of belief, that you are good as an engineer, and that necessarily you are going to be good as a trader or an investor? Where is that belief coming from? Society? Just because you had a brain to take a master's or a degree? I also have a master's, but anyone can take a master's, my friend. So it's not about masters. You don't need a master's in economics to be a successful investor. By far more important, you need the brain, and to know how to use the brain. And it's not a master's or to have a degree that implies necessarily that you have a brain, or the process of, or understand the process of reasoning. That is completely different, okay? Because everyone can have a degree, all right? So I wish you very good luck. I leave you here with the quote as you get to almost $143 that we have been waiting for, and also the case of Amazon, that once again, again, and I repeat, because this thing, it is not only fun, is that it is important to mention, to repeat, although I dislike to repeat myself, but it's often important to repeat and to be there and to help in the most difficult situations, okay? Because I said it, that it was by far easier to me, or for us, to say, well, sell everything at 968, or $60 or whatever, the profit is done and forget about it, and blah blah blah. No. Why to sell? You have to understand, but why to sell? Why to sell? On the contrary, we quadruple investment positions, for God's sake. Not in the case of Amazon, but in the case of Nvidia. How is it possible that, you have all the information in the blog of the company, complementary in real time? And then, during the investment process, we told you where to allocate your trailing stops, what is the potential upside, the position sizing, because it is in the end the most important difference between making 1 million and 100 million is precisely the position sizing, and where to allocate the trailing stops. And that helped you to remain invested in a company that where you didn't believe that could achieve this in such short period time frame, despite the earnings report. The case of Nvidia or Amazon, that traded or gained more 47%. And by far, in the end, I repeat, even by far less risky than the case of Tesla. because this is not about Tesla, it's about choosing the companies where you have more potential but also less risk, okay? So I told you, and I repeat what I said before, it is still valid today. My decision was unique, it was done, and I told you, it is preferable for you to sell these stocks and to rotate capital into these ones because the potential is by far higher, okay? And it has been proven, all right? So I had customers that they remained, for example, long and they bought on weakness, the case of Tesla, that today you have at $342, and the information with regards to the earnings after earnings and so on, it was made available to investors in our programs. But if you compare it with the performance of NVIDIA, okay, NVIDIA, when I said quadrupled investment position after earnings report, the gain that NVIDIA made is corresponds with the position sizing to, you know, Tesla to go to basic $900, which is impossible. Do you understand? It is impossible mathematically, okay? So you have this company here at 342 Tesla, and you had NVIDIA $144, okay? So it was the strategy, all this was planned in advance, the position sizing, you know, the why to make these adjustments, the rotations of capital, choosing the less risky options, but also informing you that if you wanted to remain invested in Tesla, that Tesla was going to see a price above when I made the call on earnings to sell entirely the position at $326 an hour, okay? Because shares they plunged, my friends, to 291, okay? So never fight or try to avoid to fight existing trend, all right? So there is a section dedicated entirely to this matter in my course, Life Technique Analysis. The trend is your friend, and it is the most important and one of the things that people, and helps you to often go behind your own scope, or precisely by demonstrating what has been happening in the markets, broader markets for the past 8 years. Is about the trend is your friend, and in the end people never had a compelling reason to bail out or to sell everything, because the buying on the dip occurred, except in 2015 when I said that the markets they were going to crash, collapse. It happened, but the crash, it was then an investment opportunity on a long-term basis with, well, what you are seeing as of today, companies that they drive the future and where you have to be present, having the concept and the notion, informed about also the risk. That is something that Wall Street does not inform you. Inform you about price targets. Wall Street does not inform you about the risk or the potential risk, okay, involved into a given trade. And it is by far more important to inform about the potential risk in a given trade rather than the potential profit. Because the potential profit is you are prepared for it. The risk or the potential loss, if you are not prepared for it, you are gambling the markets. And with this, I terminate, leaving you here the code in the queues, basically, finally, near $143. Okay? Thank you, and bye-bye.